We're watching a narrative with a brand new Apple iPad 3 here in a full review, and as you can see here on this table we have a lot of devices here for you. The Nexus 7, an iPad 3 mini in black also, Kindle Fire HD, the regular iPad, and of course also maybe even an ebook reader. So you can see that 5 inches to 7.9 inches, there is quite a difference, but of course they are the Kobo Mini and this Apple iPad Mini is of course not really a competitor. So let's see first the hardware. As you can see here, I used it quite a bit now on my second day, and we have of course here on the front a 720p Facetime camera. Then here on the bottom the regular on and off switch, which is a little bit smaller than with the old iPad, but it's big enough and it feels also quite sturdy. Then on the bottom here we have the lightning connector and stereo speakers, which are confirmed after already some companies took the device apart. Then we have here the 3.5mm headphone port, microphone on and off switch, and also here the display rotation lock, which you can switch to volume, mute, or regular volume, and then we have volume control plus and minus. Then here on the back we have a camera which is 5 megapixels and shoots 1080p. A beautiful Apple logo here on the back, which is glossy, and I think I already have my first scratch in here, or maybe not. Anyhow, the Apple iPad or iPhone 5 has also the same design like the iPad mini, and there the Apple logo on the back scratched up really fast. So you should maybe buy a case if you use the iPad for a long time and you don't want to scratch the back. Then we have here also the iPad trademark here on the back, which is not mini, just iPad, and actually that's it from the device itself. And let's compare it of course with the black one, so you can decide which one you want to buy. So we have black and white right here, not the game but the iPads, and you can see that the black one is a little bit nicer maybe if you want to watch a lot of movies, since then the white border will not be that distracting, but otherwise the black one is also quite beautiful, but not maybe as trendy as the white one. I would myself choose the black one probably if I know that this eluxidated aluminum is sturdy enough to withstand everyday use, and there won't be a lot of scratches like there were problems with the iPhone 5. But otherwise the iPad mini in white is just actually also quite beautiful and quite interesting to look at, since it's kind of like the small brother or sister of the big iPad, which I will compare to you also in just a second. And let's see how actually the lightning connector looks like. A lot of people maybe haven't seen this yet, so this is quite an interesting connector. There's also micro USB adapter for that available, and you just can really plug it in any way you want. You don't have to look at it like if it's on the top or on the bottom, the connectors, since they're on both sides the same, and it goes all the way. And also there's actually no headphones in the box when you buy the iPad mini, which you can see here actually the box, but there's the small charger which you already know from the iPhone 5 or the iPhone 4 and the previous ones, which gives out 1 amps at I think 5 volts. Yes, 5 volts, 1 amps, and the battery of the iPad is I think about 20 watt hours. So of course a lot smaller than with the big iPad 3 and 4, which I think have about 60. But yeah, that's why it's a lot lighter, 305 grams, and compared to the Google Nexus, that's 40 grams less. And then compared to the Kindle Fire HD, it's actually 90 grams less. So you can see here with the Google Nexus 7, there's also quite a size difference. The iPad mini is bigger, but as I said, lighter. And of course, if I put them onto each other, you can see that the iPad mini is also slimmer with 7.2 millimeters, but not much slimmer actually. So both are really good in your hands, but the Nexus has a rubberish feeling on the back, which makes it, I think, better to hold. The same for the Kindle Fire HD. Kindle Fire HD has a little bit of a big bezel around it, as you can see here, so it's actually almost as big as the Apple iPad mini, not in height but in the width, which you can see here. So if I put them onto each other, the Kindle is actually a little bit wider but not higher, but in terms of thickness you can see that the Apple iPad mini is a lot more attractive. And the battery life is about 12 hours of Wi-Fi usage on the iPad mini, which is of course not happening the first few times when you use it. I haven't charged it yet fully. Right now we started yesterday at 80%, and about every 5 to 10 minutes it goes down 1% when I use it right now. That will be a little bit better after I charged it a few times. And now another tablet that I have here is the regular Kindle Fire, which is exactly half the price of the Apple iPad mini. It has also 7 inches, not the same resolution, but as you can see that's a little bit nicer in terms of bezel size than the Amazon Fire HD. This is just a Fire, Kindle Fire, and you can see it's a lot thicker. It's yeah, heavy, thick, and not the perfect device as far as ecosystem. Also it has Android, but special Amazon Android, so you get a lot of recommendations for books, movies, and everything you would buy from Amazon, but otherwise it's not as open as Android. So enough from the hardware. You can see we have beautiful design as always here with Apple. We have 5 rows for apps and only 4 rows this way, which is quite interesting since the Nexus has a smaller width on the screen, but we have 6 apps here this way and 5 apps that way. We have, I think, not the maximum display brightness right now on the iPad, but you can see that the colors are still quite beautiful, and we will take a closer look at the display quality in terms of pixelization in another video. But actually it's not that bad. If you read a lot of text, it's not perfect on the iPad mini, but otherwise I just prefer the size of the screen, since, for example, gaming is a lot better. I can open Angry Birds, so you can see that, and I will open it Angry Birds actually on the Google Nexus also, since why not? And then you can see here right away that we have actually on both the same game, but there is just a lot more space to game on the brand new Apple iPad mini. Let's just go into one level here, for example the second one on both. So you can see that it may be the Google Nexus 7 is a little bit more portable, but otherwise I would choose the iPad, since there's just a lot more space to really use your apps with. Especially since, for example, a lot of apps leave the back, home, and previous apps buttons here on the Google Nexus, and you lose even more space that you can use. But if I go maybe into the web, you can also see it there. I think, no, actually the white one doesn't have Wi-Fi right now. Let's take the black one, since I'm in the Wi-Fi right there. So let's open Safari. Then we have here, for example, nlevel.com. Let's check it out here. Chrome. Let's go to Tech Focus. There we go. So you can see that there is a big difference in terms of space to watch websites in. Actually, I have Tech Focus also open right here. So you can see both fit the pages perfectly, but otherwise there's just more space for text on the iPad, and when you make the text bigger, and actually let me make the iPad brighter, otherwise it wouldn't be fair. So maximum brightness on both. You can see that the text is a little bit smaller right now because it's wider, but you can read actually everything on both perfectly, and it's not pixelized at all. So I would rather choose the iPad mini in terms of this comparison, but when you watch movies on the iPad, which is probably not the perfect scenario, and I actually don't have them right there, I have it on the white one, so you can actually see both in action. Let's see, I have OPlayer, which is a free program if you choose the light version, and I have here 720p video, which is called Transformers. Actually, let me go a little bit back so we have a little bit of space for talking. So 720p videos, or 720p video movie, regular movie, and you can see here there's a lot of black on the top and on the bottom, which wouldn't be happening if you choose a movie on the Google Nexus, which I am doing right now in the background, so just give me a second. I have here, for example, Madagascar 3, was out in the movies in the summer. Let me go a little bit forward, make it a little bit brighter, maximum brightness, so you can see here. On the Google Nexus, the picture for a movie is just a lot bigger, since it's 16 by 9, and on the iPad it's just not exactly the same. So for watching movies, the Nexus may be a little bit better, but in terms of camera, let's go out again. And for example, the front camera here, this is just looking, let me switch it actually. The Facetime camera is just beautiful. You can see here my camera, it's fast, it's sharp, and it just looks really, really nice. You can flip it, and then the photo button flips also, and you can flip it this way. Of course, you can flip it everywhere around, but when you go this way, it's not as good as to press here the photo button. Any way you will hold it, you will have a little bit of your finger here inside the picture. And I'm hearing right now actually that the movie is still playing, so let's just close this. There we go. Let's close a few different other things also, since we don't need them. FaceTime, for example. But there's a lot of programs, as you can see here, running in the background, since you can actually do a lot of multitasking also here with this tablet. You can, if you have one app open, go with 4 fingers to the side, and then you will have your previous apps that you were using right there. So I have, for example, a clock app here now, which is quite handy in iOS 6, and before we didn't have that, where you can look at different time zones, go into an alarm feature finally, stopwatch, and timer. So if you want to cook your eggs or anything like that, that's of course quite handy. And actually we were at the camera before, so let's go back here to the back camera, and there you can see, let me hold it the other way around, since the camera is on the top left here. You can see that it's also with the 5 megapixels quite fast here, and you can shoot also beautiful 1080p videos with it, which I did yesterday in front of the Apple Store in Munich. You cannot set a low resolution in 1080p, so you cannot set actually any resolution at all, but what you can do is, while you play the movie, you can zoom in and zoom out, for example, which is of course quite nice to have. So this is looking really good. So if you watch a 1080p video, you can really just zoom in and check out more details that you would have missed maybe otherwise. So Angry Birds is not the only game, of course, that you can play on here. I played, for example, this Jetpack Joyride, which is completely for free. And again here, the iPad is the perfect device for this, since this is a game where you need a lot of space also to the top, and all you have to do is fly around here with the machine gun on your back, and yeah, it just looks beautiful, and you won't even see that this is not a Retina display, so you don't actually have to have a Retina display at all, I think. But of course it would be nicer, but Apple needed of course something for the Apple iPad Mini 2, so this is enough. And of course what I need to show you now is when both are on, how they look like with maximum brightness. You can see, actually I don't think the white one was at maximum, it was the black one, yes indeed. So you can see both look quite beautiful, but actually have the same amount of icons available on them, and the icons on the iPad, regular iPad 3 and 4 are just much bigger to hit, so maybe that's a little bit easier for older people. But in terms of thickness, turn both off, you can clearly see that the Apple iPad Mini wins, and I think it really just looks more beautiful. Actually, let me clean this up here so it looks a little bit better. Yeah, the iPad Mini is just a hell of a device. It looks really beautiful, and there's not much to say against it, except for, of course, the Lightning connector is not universally usable and quite expensive if you need a new cable for 20 bucks. But otherwise the cameras are just tremendous. Of course the flash would be nice on the back, but at least it has a back camera in comparison, for example, to the to the Google Nexus and to the Kindle Fire HD. which doesn't have a camera at all. Actually, it's not the Fire. The Fire is right here. Everything is black here. So if I turn both on, you can see actually that the Kindle Fire HD is just not looking as great, since especially also in the camera you can see the front camera is slow and pixely, and there is actually no app on here with which you can use the camera just for shooting pictures. And otherwise the interface is also quite dumbed down, but it's maybe really good for people that don't use too many apps on these devices. So you can see here previously opened apps, but we have here, if I have a book, we have recommendations for other books, which is of course quite nice. And I think there's not much else to show you about the brand new Apple iPad mini, since this just came out now. We showed you the, well, one more thing, of course, the keyboard, which is quite important. Otherwise, this will be actually it. Back camera, front camera, user scenario and everything. I think the iPad mini is a really good device. With LTE it will be a lot better, and for a good price. Really, even when the iPad mini 2 comes out, the iPad mini 1 I think will be a really good device for a lot of people, for cheap entry into the tablet market, and practical actually also, since it fits in your back pocket also. So let's just type techfocus.de. Bam, go, and you will see that every website, well, of course depending on how fast your Wi-Fi is right now, opens up quite quickly, nicely, and you can zoom in and out, as we already showed you before, really nicely. You cannot play Flash, but there's less and less sites with Flash, and even Adobe themselves quit actually the further development for Flash for mobile devices. So this was it with the brand new Apple iPad mini here in a really short test. I hope you liked it. We liked both tablets a lot. The decision between black and white is not as easy as you might think, but there will be more videos for both of them coming up, with display test, camera test, and so on. So please subscribe right here on the top in YouTube. And thank you much for watching. Till next time, please tune in again. My name is Balazs Gal for Endeavor TV and Tech Focus. Please tune in again, and till next time, thank you again.